Yeah?
Yeah.
My number 3 then is essentially FIFA 15 still.
All right.
Moving on from last week, played a lot more co-op seasons. In fact, that's basically all I've been playing exclusively. And yeah, I'm still kind of unsure on the game. There are elements that I like. I definitely like it a lot more than FIFA 14. There are elements that I do like. I do really like the variety in goals. I think that's by far the best it's ever been in a FIFA game. And I have had plenty of memorable goals that I can actually sort of think about now and remember them. And that's one of the things that I love about football, and one of the things that I love about great football games. But already it seems to be so easy for opposition players with quick wingers to play the ball out wide on a counter-attack and beat your defenders with dribbling, especially when you're playing online. Just easily beat your defenders and score. The defenders, they don't crowd the box enough for starters, and also the way that they have the tactical defending set up, it's so difficult to maintain your momentum with the slightest latency that you're playing with online. Time the tackle right. Sometimes when you press the button, it's like a drag back, and sometimes it just sticks a foot out into the middle of nowhere, even if you're not near the player. So you're supposed to use, in order to be able to defend against a guy who can just run and change directions, you need to be holding 4 or 5 buttons at once and time it exactly right with compensation for latency. There should be an easier way to just kind of crowd players out in that type of situation. It's very rare in football it's way more common in FIFA 15 for players to be one-on-one with defenders in the box than it is in real football. They tend to get crowded out midfielders or run back and track runners and things. And it just doesn't happen enough because it's way too easy to counter-attack because, again, it's so easy when you're clearing the ball just to press the pass button, do a 180-degree reverse pass, and pass it directly to the feet of your striker, and then launch an attack from there. So again, it's constantly played in transition when you're playing online, and that kills. That does so much damage. Kills is the wrong word, but it does so much damage to its credibility as a simulation of football, and it's never going to be 100% realistic. After all, you're trying to recreate an hour and a half's worth of football in the space of 10-12 minutes, or however long a FIFA match lasts, and still have it feel like a game of football. So that itself is a magic trick, but it feels like basketball. It doesn't feel like football. Football is periods of possession that they're sometimes broken up, and sometimes it is back and forth, but commonly it will be a period of possession for 20 minutes with the odd break here and there, period of possession for the other team 20 minutes, or one team will dominate the whole match. It's very, very, very rarely I attack, you attack, I attack, you attack. And quite often, if that does happen, the commentators say this is an amazing game. It's just the defence going out the window, and it is to watch sometimes. But if it was always like that, and it was that easy to do it like that, then football just wouldn't be the game that it is. And there seems to be no way of it not being like that, because I tend to clear the ball with the hoof button, because instinctively, and from years of playing Pro Evo, when you're under the cosh, to use an annoying footballing term, when you're really under a lot of pressure, you need to just get the fucking ball out of there anyway into touch, clear it. But that normally ends up with the other team maintaining possession. Whereas you can just be really ill-disciplined in FIFA, press the pass button, and more so than even in previous FIFA games, it seems so easy to get the ball to strikers. Try doing that in Pro Evo and see what happens. Even the old ones, you will occasionally get it to your strikers, but most of the time you will pass it to an attacker, and he will score. And that's what used to drive me mad when I used to play with you, because you always used to press the pass button and get yourself stitched up. You said you enjoyed the drama. That's fine, but it's because it always created drama. Whereas in FIFA 15, it just creates an easy out. And it doesn't look right. This includes championship teams. David and I were playing with Millwall, and you could do that with Millwall easily. Just press pass a couple of times and you're straight up to striker.
You've started saying Millwall like him.
Yeah, deliberately.
Okay, all right. Well, FIFA 15 is my number 2. So, by and large, I'm kind of surprised by how much I like it. But I don't know whether how much of that is down to the fact that I'm just so happy I'm not playing FIFA 14 anymore. But regardless of that, I do think this is clearly superior to that game.
Yes, it is. It is way better.
But nevertheless, there are still issues that just really lead me to believe that the tide has got to be turning, especially after Pro Evo's demo. I really think that the pendulum deserves to swing in that direction if the finished game is as promising as the demo suggests. But EA Canada they're still working to a template that I just think has run its course. They have nowhere to go. It's still made for a very, I say a very specific audience. People just like football games like this. It's very clear. They like action-heavy, very pacey football games like this. But if you're looking for that, this is pretty much rock solid on the whole. I have to say also, I thought it was kind of ludicrous at first, but those brief little cutscenes that they've added do add a little something.
Yeah,
you do feel more like you're interacting with a real game of football. And the commentary snippets during the post-match highlights and on the pitch, you can see sort of players yelling at teammates to mark runners and stuff. It's not just in the cutscenes, it's actually you can see that stuff happening in the game. It does involve you more. Much like you said, it does sort of engage you with the proceedings more than it has done in the past. The whole thing about lob through balls, they're much less likely to succeed now on the whole. When you see people trying to do it online, it doesn't work anywhere near as much.
Yeah, it's gratifying when your keeper just runs out and just mops it up easily.
Yeah, I mean, and also your defenders tend to mark runners a little bit more regularly.
Yeah.
So, but in its place, what I found is just, it feels like, was it FIFA 10 or FIFA 11? I think it was FIFA 10 where the big problem was ping pong passing.
Yeah.
I'm already seeing it exploited endlessly online. It took less than 3 days, but they've already done it. Every game I have, donk, 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 goal. I couldn't do anything about that. I literally couldn't do anything about it. Are they going to fix it? I'm really interested.
Yeah.
Exactly, they didn't fix the lob through balls. I'm really interested to know because people loved FIFA 14 for those reasons, for all of those flaws. So perhaps the same's true here. I don't know. I still can't believe that referees still ignore the most violent tackles imaginable. I mean, the things like shoulder barges and basically body checking, they go unpunished. That's a legitimate fault with this game and the last one. Why would you create the animation of a player stopping dead and basically lamping a player off the ball if they weren't supposed to get punished for it, because they never are? Some of the stuff you see just like, ref, that's an instant black card. Why did you do? That's a mystery. That's still exactly the same as it was last year. And although I appreciate the fact that you can score more varied goals now, I've lost track of how many goals I've had scored on me from really impossible angles, like on the wing, maybe 10 or 20 degree angle, running up towards the goal. In FIFA 14 and in most football games, they don't go in, but these ones just go in, usually through the keeper's legs. I've been scored on that way. I've actually already lost count online because people just constantly run. They run up to the wing, an impossible angle. They're basically running along the back goal line.
Yeah, that has happened to me a few times, to be fair.
That's out of whack completely, I think.
Yeah.
And just in general, the newfangled keepers are a real mixed bag. I mean, like, it's 50-50. Sometimes they rush strikers making runs that you did not even see coming, which is awesome. And you're like, fuck, get in there. But there was one time where my keeper was standing, shielding the ball as if he was trying to let it go out for a throw-in in front of the goal while strikers were running in. And I'm just like, Keeps, what are you doing? What are you trying to do to me, Keeps? So it's split down the middle. It does really bizarre stuff, and it does great stuff. It's just... God, it's annoying when he acts like a complete idiot. But the package as always is really solid. I like Match Day Live. I'm not a football fan, but it's cool that you can go and see what your team and your division and your nearest competitors are doing, and there's news pages, and then you can enact an upcoming fixture. That's really quite a neat feature. I'm pretty sure that's new. I play Ultimate Team, not for very long. I always play it for like a month or so, but I like the fact that there's now lone players there.
Yeah.
So the better the player, the less time you have them. So you're constantly, I was constantly buying someone like Robin and then using him to plug a gap that I couldn't fill when he left. So I waste all my money and then he's gone. I'm like, oh well, shit. I'm gonna have to stick a reserve keeps in there or something. Also, I've got to say this. I will say this whenever anyone asks me about FIFA on Xbox One. Kinect is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
FIFA with Kinect, if they shouted about it more, I'm pretty sure it could shift Xbox Ones on its own. I really do, because it is amazing. You still can't use Kinect online, but it's so good. It makes me just want to play offline more because. The substituting a player is amazing. I mean, it has worked for me across FIFA 14 and 15 100% of the time. Seriously, I've never called the player's name out where Connect hasn't recognised who it was, and then it's amazing, truly. But it's not only great when you're playing career mode. You can call for passes. If you're playing, trying to build up your own pro, suggest that you can say, "Oh, I have a shot," or you can get your keeper to charge, or you can tell a player where you.
Does it work on that? Does it?
Yeah. Or you can tell a player where if someone else is taking a corner, you can tell them, go back post, go for the back post, and it works brilliant. The Connect implementation is amazing, truly. So I mean, yeah, but on the whole, I'm happy with this game. I really am happy with it. I think it's an improvement. Will I still be playing it after Pro Evo comes out? I very much doubt it. Just because, as we've discussed many times, the gameplay has no real depth to it. A good FIFA player is someone who knows how to manipulate FIFA, not play FIFA.
Yeah.
And that will probably get tiring for me quite soon, I think. But on the other hand, I'm sure that almost everyone who buys this will almost certainly be happy with it, at least in the short term, and I guess you can't ask for much more than that.